we didn't have any customers. We didn't have any employees. We thought our differentiator could be amazing customer service because it really didn't cost anything.
Welcome to the Cleaning Up Podcast, Millionaire Secrets of the Home Services Industry. Brought to you by me, Ron Holt, CEO and founder of Two Maids and a Mop, America's fastest growing cleaning company. I get a chance to sit down with home service industry pros and other entrepreneurial leaders so they can share their stories, their insight, their experiences. It's so much fun. You're going to learn so much. You're going to be inspired to take your small business into a national brand just like I did. Let's jump right into the interview. It's a true honor to have the man, the myth, the legend, John DiJulius here on our show today. So thanks for being here, John.
My pleasure, Ron. I'm pumped to be here.
You bet. So we're going to jump right in because, man, this whole, I don't want to waste any time. I want to talk anything and everything, customer service and customer experience. And so let's go back to those early days. And I still remember some of those really cool tidbits you shared in that original book that you wrote. Take us back to those early days and what were you thinking? Why in the world start a spa, a hair salon and spa? What was the basis behind that?
Yeah, well, I wish I could tell you I had this great plan. And everything I've done, my two major careers, first the salon and spa, and then the speaking and consulting were total accidents. And if I would have known you back then, I would have bet you $1 million I wouldn't have, ended up doing either. And that's what's cool about it, right? So I was driving a truck for UPS and was a born entrepreneur. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so didn't know what it would be. The only thing I had interest in is sports, and so I thought it was going to be a sporting goods store, which thank God it wasn't. But that was the only 2 + 2 I could find as being an entrepreneur and maybe opening a sporting goods store. So my wife was this rock star hairdresser in Cleveland. And she was working for, a typical salon. And, back in the late 80s, early 90s, the salon industry wasn't anything to be, really proud of. It wasn't thought as professional. The salons weren't professional. They didn't offer good customer service, all those things, benefits. And a lot of great hairdressers who enjoyed being hairdressers who would quit the industry for, quote unquote, real jobs, right? So me and my wife saw an opportunity, and so we said, let's start this salon, and let's offer customers something that they aren't getting anywhere else, let alone the salon industry. Let's offer employees something that they weren't getting, and then give back to the community. And I thought that would just be my start, and then once that took off, it would allow me to go open my business. And fortunately, we struggled right away. We didn't know what we were doing. We hired, people with experience, and they wanted nothing to do with our vision and all that. So I thought we were going to go out of business, and we almost did within 6 weeks. But that's when I decided to quit UPS and jump in the salon business full time. And between my business and customer service acumen and my wife's, technical ability, we just started growing and exploding. And, the 90s was just, it was crazy how fast we were growing. So from there, people started asking me to speak. And at first I was like really flattered and, I'd speak locally at chambers of commerce. And, every time I spoke, 2 or 3 people would come up after and say, hey, do you do this for businesses? And I'm like, yeah, and then it just spiraled from there.
So I remember one of your fun stories from that initial book where you talked about how you created an initial customer referral program that may or may not still be in place today inside the spa. But what, if you remember, I think there were some crazy trips that you were in and things like that. So what was it, and how did you pull it off?
And so, back to, your original question, why we were obsessed with customer service was basically just a need. there's like in every busy city, there is a salon up and down, our road. You could throw a baseball to, and hit, 5 of them, from, either direction. So we couldn't compete on, aesthetics, and we didn't have any money. We didn't have any customers. We didn't have any employees. We thought our differentiator could be amazing customer service because it really didn't cost anything. And now 27 years later, that's still our differentiator because the return on experience is just sickening. So to get our word out, to your question, we started a referral contest. And I think the first year we said the person who would refer the most in the calendar year would, get a $100 gift certificate to John Roberts and spa. And so that, got us someone with 8 and a bunch of people with 7, 6, 5. So it was good. So then the next year, I think we upped it to a cruise for 2 on the Royal Caribbean that was donated to us by a local travel agent. And we made sure, they got a ton of exposure. And, all of a sudden, the winner the following year had like 40 with so many people having 38, 36, 35. And, we worked it. Every time you referred someone, we'd send you a thank you card. You'd get a $5 gift certificate. And, oh, by the way, Ron, we want to let you know that you're, in the running to win the cruise for 2 on the Royal Caribbean, courtesy of travel, blah blah blah. And then the next year we got a Lexus convertible, and I think the winner had 98, and there's tons of people with 90s and 80s and 70s, and so that just kind of put us on the map. It was almost too much of a problem just because we had to change it. We used to have it end, December 31st, right? The calendar year. And, the December is our busiest time. So, we couldn't handle people literally were bringing in bus loads of people, trying to win the contest. So we had to move it from instead of January 1st to December 31st, we moved it from, February 1st to January 31st, which in January, it's a ghost town in all retail. So we welcome those busloads of people.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, believe it or not, I'm a pretty literal kind of guy. And when I read about that story, I don't even know when it was, in the mid 2000s, I tried to do the same thing myself. I took a little spin on it, and we went to restaurants and we put these signs with these little boxes connected to the sign, and basically promoted this free trip to this Florida beach. And I'm not going anywhere good with this story, John, because what I didn't take into account was we were already in Florida. So the idea of going to a resort on the beach and that were what was 10 miles from your house wasn't that exciting apparently to people. And so we failed on it. But like a good entrepreneur, we got back up and we tried something else.
No, and that's what I know we failed at so many things, but I will tell you, our best marketing. So I never believed in discounting. I just thought discounting, I didn't want to attract people looking for discounts because they'd leave you for a discount. And, but I didn't mind disguised discounting. So, what we do with the Lexus dealer is every time they sold a brand new car, they would send you a thank you card with a $50 gift certificate to John Roberts Spa. You would think they bought it for you. If you just bought a Lexus, you or your wife can do some damage in my salon. So it was a win-win-win situation. But even for your business, right? Find high-end restaurants, find high-end salons and spas. And, what we like to do is we call them 50-50 trades. And, I'll give you $50 gift certificates and you give me $50 gift certificates. And we get, 250, 300 from different businesses, the home cleaning service, high-end restaurants, all those things. And then we'll send out, at the holidays, dear Ron, or dear Mr. and Mrs. Holt, thank you for being VIPs of John Roberts Spa. To reward you for your loyalty, we just got you a gift certificate to one of the best best cleaning company, home cleaning companies, right? Because we're all sharing, the same type of client. If you're going in and cleaning a $400,000 house, they can do a lot of damage in my spa, and vice versa. If someone's spending the tens of thousands of dollars at a salon, I'm sure that they do really well for a home cleaning company. So those were just where we always looked for the opportunity. And there had to be 3 wins, right? Both companies had to win. And if they won, they'd come back and say, hey, can we do this again, right? So we always had to make sure that both companies won. And then the customer wins, and the customer becomes more loyal to the company that gave them this gift certificate that showed their appreciation for them.
So one of the other things that really excites me about your message and all the information you present is that the more and more I learn about customer experience, the more and more I understand it's really about the employee experience first. And you guys don't just preach it, you do it, So can you talk a little bit about how over the years, what you've done internally at the spa to get your people to buy into the way you think about customer service?
Well, it's making an investment in them. And the first investment starts with how hard it is to get a job. So, in any business, but, let's look at the salon and spa industry. The typical one, they're like everyone understaffed. So, you don't even have to fill out the application, and they're like, can you start tomorrow? Even when we are, understaffed and we are, we need people. And when you need people, that means you needed them 3 months ago to be of value today, right? If you hire someone today and then you got to go through the training, they're not going to, do you much good for a while. So obviously being proactive, always constantly, recruiting and hiring, even when you don't need people, because you always will, and you never turn down a great applicant. But so in our businesses, it takes 4 interviews at the minimum to get hired, and that's 3-4 weeks. And then when we sit down with someone, we'll tell them, are you interviewing other salons? And a lot of times they think that's a trick question, so they say no, and say, well, you absolutely should be. Right. And we want you to, interview us as much as we're interviewing you. And here's what you should look for. And, obviously everything we're telling them that they should be looking for, we stack up pretty well. But all of a sudden, when, someone's telling them that, that they should be interviewing other places, that makes them want the job more. But it also, we hire 1 out of 25 people that apply. But the people, it makes the new employee really appreciate and value working here, because they're like, wow, they're so protective of their culture that, Ron, if you started working with me for me next week, listen, no one's quit John Roberts Spa, the DiJulius Group in over 20 years. Now, no, don't say wow. People have quit, but they don't quit a company, they quit people. Right? They quit John, they quit, Suzanne, they quit Eric. And most of the time they quit each other, meaning, they might say, if I got to work next to Ron one more day, or go out on, cleaning with Ron one more day, Ron, the coworker, not Ron, the president, and just listen, he's miserable, and, this, that, whatever. That's what they quit. And people quit people. And so it's our job to protect the culture and make sure. So we call that the 30-foot high fence with barbed wire on it. And we're not for everyone, nor, do we want to be. And so then after, say they really appreciate the filter that we go through, making sure that, next week, next month, next year, whoever is going to be surrounding, you're going to know that, they fit. But then, just rewarding, recognizing, making sure that, we're helping them along the way. Remembering that the first 90 days, they're the dumbest employee working here. And that's not, me disrespecting them. Everyone is, right? If I came to work for you tomorrow, I'd be the dumbest employee working there. And, that's intimidating. That's frustrating. That's hard. So just making sure that The training we put into them is unbelievable. Soft skill as much as the technical side. So they start seeing a difference at home. Their parents come in and say, I don't know what you did to my daughter, but she's not the same person that she was anymore. And offering, home buying classes and, financial and budgeting classes and, all the things that, they are going to need. And, listen, we love when our employees buy homes because that makes them show up to work, and work more aggressively. So, anything we can, just rewarding them.
Yeah. So, that reminds me of a story of my own life many years ago. So I early on, I cleaned houses, probably like you, and it was just not necessarily something I wanted to do, but it was a sort of act of survival during those early days. But even during those early days when I was actually picking up a broom and cleaning, I didn't literally ride with our team. We're called two maids and a mop. So we always send two people out. So I'd have a partner, but I would meet that person at the home because I was in and out. I'm cleaning, then I got to go back and I got to go buy some supplies, go see another customer or something, right? It wasn't until several years later when I said to myself, I need to experience the day with them because I want to know what's going on. And it took one day for my eyes to just be wide open to a whole nother world that I didn't know existed. And so simple things like, I would ride in the back seat and that one day, one of the employees complained about the choice of music on the radio. During that same day, one of the employees that was riding up front complained about the other person smoking in the car. Same thing, that same day, someone complained about the language. They were apparently talking on the phone to the boyfriend. They were in this argument and there was a lot of foul language and the other employee just totally disagreed with it. And by the end of that day, if I were the other employee complaining about the music and the smoking and the foul language, I would have quit. And it had nothing to do with anything to do with two maids and a mop. It was just the experience between those two employees. And so how do you, if in your own
No, I
world,
love that. I love that. I mean, listen, the first two things we do is, help companies create a day in the life of a customer and a day in the life of an employee, and both for the empathy and compassion reason, and like your business, like my business, almost every business out there, the customer facing employee is typically not the customer. So go to my salon and spa, we have a bunch of millennials, 100 plus, hairdressers in their mid to late 20s, probably the average. But our clientele, our guest that's coming in is a, 40 to 52-year-old female professional. So being 26, it's hard for her to relate to what it's like to be a 45-year-old woman, mother of three, working a full-time job and the chaos, and where 24 hours enough time in a day, 36 hours enough time in a day. Doesn't mean we change who we hire, but we have to help them understand what that person's battling, and so they understand the part that they play in their day. Same thing in your business, right? You got people going out to, beautiful homes, and they could get a chip on their shoulder, right? That princess here has to go to the spa, or she has to go play tennis while I'm cleaning their house. But you help them realize that princess isn't a princess. She has a lot of things going on. She might have a chronically ill child, and relationship issues, and all the things that people have going on, aging parents, and it just helps. But same thing with the customer, the employee. What you did is finding out what it's like to be an employee, and the things that they have going on, and running to the paycheck and trying to the bank to cash their paycheck, and the little things that can affect the employee engagement and morale that we would never think of, really helps managers, leaders be better service providers to our team members.
So you're saying with the day in the life, you guys, I've heard that you create a video that portrays a typical day in the life of one of your customers.
Correct.
How impactful is that for your new employees? I mean, do they really relate to that and they use that and it sticks with them forever?
Well, everything only sticks with them for a little while. So we show it. We've always showed it and tell our clients to show it in their training, and then try to show it quarterly, because it always, and a day in the life of a customer video should be a roller coaster. And that's not all negative, right? There's a lot of great things going on in our customers' lives, but you want to be there for those. If I come out and I'm working on your home and I notice a trophy, on the mantle or on the counter, or I notice a letter hanging from the refrigerator that your son or daughter got accepted to Duke, right? I mean, those are high five moments. Or a new piece of furniture, new art. Those are things that you want to congratulate and recognize. A new car in the driveway with stickers on it, temporary tags. And just be there, and I call them high five moments. But it's the most powerful thing that we've ever helped companies create, as long as they continue to use it. But one company did something that we never thought to do. They show it on the interview, and we never thought to do that. And so so I'm interviewing you and kind of going over the checklist of things, and also I say, Ron, I want you to look at this video. And you watch this 3-minute video, and it takes you through kind of an emotional roller coaster, and I see how you react. And the people that we want react are like, they could have a tear in their eye. They could be like, oh my God, I had no idea this is what we get to do on our job. And then there's other people who are just more transactional, say, okay, good, what else you need me to fill out or do? And that tells you right there that they're not looking for something more than just a job.
Well, so your employees sound a lot like our own employees. Our employees, sure, we have some that are older, and I say that because I'm one of those older people. But most of our employees across the country, and we've got over 1,000 of them now, are millennials. There's somewhere in their early to mid to late 20s. And like you said, they may have never lived, certainly may have never cleaned a home of a homeowner that looks like our customers. And so that is something that what's one thing we can do? I know the video is a real product that we could really work towards, but what's one thing that we could do today that would help our employees relate better to understanding why the customer wants a clean home from us? Because it's really not about that, right? We're giving them time more than a clean
peace
home.
of mind, right? That it's the one thing I can count on today with my clients screaming at me and didn't get the test results I was hoping my mom would get, and the boss is on me. I come home and my house is spotless, right? That's the one thing, peace of mind that I can always count on your company. So listen, it doesn't have to be a video, it could be a story. And one of the best exercises is having your employees, you show them a story. So if you YouTube Chick-fil-A, every person has a story. That's a great video to show your team, and make sure you have the Kleenex out. And then you say, all right, what would ours look like? And you just have them role play it, and they'll hit it out of the park. What are some things that our clients are dealing with? And they might role play and drive into work, and the cop pulls them over, and they're trying to get to an appointment, and they're trying to get their son or daughter on the bus, and they start throwing up because they got the flu. Well, that throws a wrench in their day, right? So it just helps you be like, wow, I really need to be there for that person. Their son or daughter has allergies, and that's why having that house spotless is so important. So it's just thinking, and another good exercise is creating avatars. So we all have multiple types of customers, right? We have some customers that let's go to the salon. Some customers that come in twice a week and don't ask what our prices are and don't blink and buy 6 products, and here's my credit card number, just ring it out, and they don't want to know. They don't care. Then we have some customers that, so we want to name them, right? And we want to name them, and that's Sherry, right? And Sherry's the one that just, is our gold mine customer, comes in, refers a lot, doesn't really care, but we better be on our A game. She does have high expectations, and this is an escape for her, provided we're making it an escape, we're not adding more stress to her. But then you have some customers that, they quit smoking, they pack a lunch instead of eating out, so they can afford us a few times a year. And that's huge. Oh my God. So, we might call that Sally. And so you have these customer avatars that are kind of your typical different types of customers. So when we talk about that, they're each critically important things, that you got to make sure that, hey, Sally, Sally's coming in. Oh, Sally, that was a Sally. And that's someone who just doesn't sneeze at our prices. Make sure that, when we say, the color is $125 and more. Well, if it's not $125, we tell her, hey, Sally, just want to let you know that, because you have really long hair, because you have really thick hair, because you are asking for a lot of different things, that's going to be about $165. Someone like Sally will probably say, no way. Okay, that's fine, Sally. So here's what I can do. If your budget's $125, here's what we can do. And you're managing her expectations and giving her versus, the Sherry, she doesn't need to know. She doesn't care. So, not just, then we are avoiding the problem up front when Sally goes to pay. And I'm sure that's the same with you coming out to my house and, I'm getting a price quote. You say, basically over the phone. But then you get here and it's, nothing like I described. It's a mess, whatever those are. Well, we got to make sure we manage expectations. Say, Mr. DiJulius, I want to let you know that we budgeted X amount of hours. And if you want us to do everything you're describing, that's going to take us X amount of hours more, which will make your price, this versus this. Now you're giving me the option to say, well, all I have is this, so only do the hours you budgeted and I'll live with, what isn't done. Or I really need this done. We got a huge party this Saturday and all right, and you're giving me the option and avoided, that problem on the back end when, no, you said, and of course you didn't say, but they only remember that price and they forget the end up part.
Right. So if you're okay with this, I'd love to do sort of a lightning round, just some quick questions. Feel free to have longer answers, but there'll be some pretty quick questions. And these are going back to things that I already know that you've talked about, and I want our audience to hear because these were really monumental sort of ideas for me that we actually implemented in some way inside our business. I'm going to lead with one we didn't, and I'm embarrassed to say this because you're gonna be upset with me because I should have learned from this. But one of the stories I hear you talk about a lot is what you did to remind people to show up for their appointment. Apparently, that was a big issue for you guys, and it's a big issue for us as well. I mean, there's not a store across the country right now that did not have a last minute cancellation today, and so we combat that with what we call reminder calls, and we try to say, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow at 2:00. Make sure you're there. And that helps, but we still have plenty of chances for that to really fail for us. And so you had that same experience inside the John Roberts spa, right? And I'd love to hear how you combated that and how you resolved it for your business.
Yeah, literally 27 years ago when we opened, we did reminder calls. And I know, in 2019, that sounds, or 2020, that sounds silly, because everyone does it, right? Now it's automated and you get texts and emails. But back then, 27 years ago in 1992, no one did this. And so what we did was, we'd call and say, Ron, we'd like to remind you of your 3:00 tomorrow. And we thought we were being world class, but we got a lot of complaints because people were insulted that, I know my schedule. Thank you very much. It's like, whoa, I can't believe it. And, so all we did was we ended up changing the word to confirm, from remind to confirm. Hey, Ron, we'd like to confirm your appointment is still good tomorrow at 3:00. And no one ever complained. People are like, yeah, that still works. And sometimes people would say, what, I got some time after. Can I get a manicure? You got an opening for a massage. So every word matters, right? Confirm versus, remind, all those things. things, really matter.
Yeah, that's why you're going to be upset with me, because believe it or not, we still call them reminder calls. So maybe if nothing else, we take from this interview that we need to
confirmation calls. They're
right.
Confirmation calls.
So another thing that we have learned, one of the sort of epiphanies for us was this data point that showed us that most of the recurring customers that's our bread and butter, right? And so we want somebody every week, every other week, at least once a month. We'll clean you once a year, but we'd rather do it as much as possible, because we don't have to market, resell, all that good stuff, right? What we learned within our software is that we were losing people early on a lot more than we were losing them later on. And every now and then someone moves out of town and they lose their job and they cancel our services 2 years in. But for the most part, a large majority of those folks were leaving our system during the first 1 to 2 months.
Right.
And so one of the things I took from you is that you guys actually treat your new clients differently than the older ones. Not that they're receiving a poorer service, but
it's not better or worse, but it's different. There's more hand holding, right? That orientation, you're right. It goes back to, when we all, asked our, significant other out the first time, right? We're opening the door, we're paying, maybe sending in flowers the next day. Now, 16 years later, hopefully we're still doing some of that, but it is, you got to work so much harder. And to your point, existing returning clients rate you higher, and they're more loyal and they refer more. Why is it? Well, because I know you now. I know Ron. I'm familiar with Ron. I like Ron. I know Ron's from Alabama, but he's a Georgia fan, and we have a relationship. It's so easy. Like I said, no one's quit the DiJulius Group or John Roberts Spa in 20 years. However, they've quit us, but they quit people. Same thing with no one fires a company. They fire, they fire companies, right? So 2 maids and a mop, they did an okay job. They're a little expensive. My buddy's sister does it, and, it's really cheap. So I think I'm going to go that route. But what customers don't do is they don't fire people. And what I mean by that is, now that, the sooner you can get to know me, and, and one of the tactics we say is you got to build a rapport, and how you build a rapport is Ford. You got to know 2 or more things of your customers' Ford, F-O-R-D, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So, you're coming out and you see that I have 3 boys. You see that, I have Ohio State gear all over my walls. You see that there's wrestling photos all over my walls. You guys just get Ford by walking in the driveway. Right. And so the more that you are recognizing those things and building a relationship, now it's Ron, right? I can't fire Ron. And, the sooner we can do that, on the first couple dates, the sooner we build an emotional connection, that you don't fire people with an emotional connection.
So that leads me to a really good question, I think, that could be relatable to both of our industries. My assumption is at least it will. So we work hard to do that. We try to make 2 Maids and a Mop a brand, but we also try to make our people, the people that serving our customers. But every now and then, we've got this rogue employee who really develops a strong relationship with a client, and then uses that trust to go outside and create their own sort of mini cleaning company. And so we lose clients, and that's not something that we talk about out loud a lot because we're not proud of it, but it's an ugly part of the industry. And there's some legal things that can protect us. But beyond the legal protection, what are some things that you do or we can do to make 2 Maids and a Mop a people business that is, we want a name and a face to the service, but also brand specific, in that when I'm hiring someone to clean my house, it needs to be 2 Maids and a Mop, not just the people that work there.
Correct. And that's the same thing. I mean, our industry is, probably 10 times worse because, typically people follow their hairdresser, and So you got to make sure that the loyalties to the brand, they know who the owners are, they're hearing from the owners, a follow-up card from, Ron Holt, and making sure that, your satisfaction, I really don't like that word, but 100% satisfaction guarantee. If someone was on my team was amazing, please tell me. Here's my email. Here's my personal cell. If we miss the mark, please tell me. I want to make it right. And so, constantly hearing and building the relationship from your management team that, man, I have Ron's cell number. I could call him on Sunday at 3 p.m. I know I can't call him on Saturday during the Georgia game, but I could call him on Sunday. And now, I never would, but the fact that I have it is really cool. So we got to make sure that, they're hearing from the brand and that there's a face to the brand outside of just the customer facing employees that are coming to my house. And so we're really fortunate when people, do leave, hairdressers, we just keep an exceptional high amount of their clients because people love the experience and they know they can't replicate the experience. They can replicate the haircut by following her, but they like all the amenities that they get when they call in and they come in, and the loyalty, and the VIP status, and the whole community. The more people I know in your business, not just the person I'm dealing with, but the person I call in to schedule, the leader, all those, the more loyal I become to that brand.
Yeah, I have a dream. I have a dream that one day, no matter who it is walking inside one of our customers' homes, that the experience actually outweighs the actual act of cleaning. We get measured so strongly by our customers about the quality of the work, and obviously that's important. We can never hide from that. But I have a dream that one day there's going to be a large number of our customers who actually connect the experience they receive from our services more than the actual work. Is that possible? Is that realistic?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, listen, cleaning's cleaning. A haircut's a haircut. I'd love to tell you that in Cleveland, the average haircut's $32 for a woman. Now, if you go to New York, Chicago, Miami, LA, that's $300. So the average haircut in Cleveland is $32 for a woman. Our least expensive for our employees that just go on the floor is $50. And we have several hairdressers well over $100. And the ones over $100 are booked 3 weeks to 3 months until you get an opening with them. Now, I'd love to tell you our $100 bob is straighter than the $32 bob of the 4 salons in the shopping center, next to one of our locations. But at the end of the day, there's only so straight you can cut a straight line. But you can get your pick of an appointment this afternoon with those $32 bobs, where you're gonna have to wait 3 weeks to 3 months for our $120 haircut. It's the experience, and that's true with everything's a commodity today. It's the whole experience, and the more you provide that experience, the more you attract people based on that experience.
That's preach it, So I love podcasts. I love interviews. I mean, I just eat it up. I'm the biggest nerd there is when it comes to business, and so But what I do, just as a listener, I do notice that from time to time, I absorb all of this information, and then life happens, and I don't do a whole lot with it. And so my assumption is that our franchisees are no different than I am. And so, as great of all this information you've shared so far today, I hope at least someone out there absorbs it. But if you can't remember anything but one thing, what's one thing our franchisees can do when they stop listening to this interview and do it for their business and make some real changes in terms of customer service and experience?
Well, how good any company is at customer service comes down to one thing and one thing only: the service aptitude of each and every employee, from the CEO to the newest employee that's starting next week. And what they have to understand is service aptitude is not innate. It's not something we're born with, and it's not, common sense. And the biggest weakness I find in most companies is they train exclusively on operational. So if you were to hire me today and I was going to start cleaning for you or answering phones or whatever the job is, 99% of the training is all, here's how you schedule appointments, here's how you quote prices, here's how you clean the house, and here's our steps and systems. And, that's important. But you got to also represent the hospitality side, the noticing the that it's this morning was garbage pickup, and why not bring the garbage cans into the garage for them? I mean, that's great stuff. Notice that they got a swimming ribbon for second place. And when we leave that day and leave a little card, we want to say, we also want to congratulate your daughter for, getting second place in her. That's not stalking, if it's right there on the counter. Right? We're not going into people's closets and drawers looking for this information. So, so the way I can tie this up into a bow, it's not your employees' responsibility of high service aptitude. It's yours, the leader, to give it to train them on that. So have them all read the same book, have them all do exercises and presentations in the day in the life of your customers, and really make them to raise their game in the customer service, hospitality side.
Well, that leads me to a really good segue here. So you've got a new book out called The Relationship Economy. Pretty much everything you've talked about is going to be inside that book. And so I highly advise all of our franchisees out there to pick up a copy. It's only going to help your business. And so other than reading that book, what's some other ways they can be in touch with you, John?
You go to the DiJuliusGroup.com, the DiJulius Group, and it's DiJulius. And tons of videos, the same name. If you go to my YouTube channel, the DiJulius Group YouTube channel, if you go there is probably over 200, maybe 300, 2 to 3 minute videos that show once a week to your employees. It's just a little vignette of stuff like we've been talking about, or send it out to all your employees. They can sign up for my weekly blog. That's just, a short article that just gets everyone thinking about opportunities to go above and beyond, or really, create a relationship, or whatever that may look like. Listen, there's no ribbon cutting ceremony to world-class customer service. It's just like, health. Did you get a workout in today? Yes. Well, how long you good for? Well, 24 hours. You never arrive. So the best companies are always doing little things every day to increase the service aptitude of your employees. And everything I mentioned is free, right? All those videos, those 2-minute videos to share or watch or show in a meeting, those are free. My weekly e-service is free. So, little things that kind of always raise everyone's game and their service aptitude.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on today. My life, feels like a dream come true. And as crazy as this sounds, I've already said this, I'm a super big business nerd. And as much as I love some Georgia football, I'd rather talk to people like you than Kirby Smart any day of the week, because I just eat it up, man. And reading that book so many years ago, I marked it up, and it's probably got some rips in it. And I still pick it up from time to time. And so I'm just proud to know you and proud to call you a friend at this point. So thanks for being on our show.
Here, you made my day. Thank you so much.
You bet. So thanks again, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Hey guys, Beth Lovett in Business Development. If you enjoyed this episode, then please share with your friends, and don't forget to tune in to the next episode of Cleaning Up. Have you ever wondered if you wanted to be in business for yourself? If so, then don't hesitate to give me a call at 205-789-8027 or email me at bethl@ineedamaid.com. And if you just want a window shop, then you can see us online at twomaidsfranchise.com.